In this lesson, we're not going to look at any new ideas. We're just going to do some problem solving with the ones we've done so far. Try and mix them together a little bit and make sure we know how to do prisms and pyramids. So, how do we do them? No matter what, area of the base, whatever base happens to be, and then our volume is base times height, and possibly divided by 3 if it comes to a point. It's only two things we've worried about so far. So let's start with our first shape. It looks like a cylinder that has one base, two bases. So here my base is pi r squared, a circle. Radius, from the center outwards. Well, they gave us the entire thing, 10 centimeters. I have to divide it by 2 to get the radius. They give us the diameter there. And multiply it together, we get 78.54. Okay, our volume will be base times height. The question is, do we need to divide by 3 or not? We know if it comes to a point, which this one doesn't, it's going to divide by 3. So 78.54, that's one circle. How many circles stack up on top? 11 centimeters worth, all the way up to the top there. Gives us 863.94 centimeters cubed. Okay, done, that's it. Okay, let's take a look at B. This looks like a pyramid to me with a square bottom. Okay, so I need my area. Length times width. In this case, 7 times 7 is 49. My volume, base times height. This one does come to a point, so I'm going to have to divide by 3. Okay, our bottom is 49. How tall is the pyramid? Well, that's like a trick question, because the height of the pyramid should go right down the middle, and they didn't give that to us. This is going to be a Pythagoras question. I know I've got 8.7 as my slant height. I know the whole bottom is 7 all the way across, so half of that must be 3.5. I don't know how tall that is. That's the height that I need. So, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We'll fix the order first. And bring the 3.5 over and subtract it. If we do our math up there, we'll get h squared is 63.44. That's after squaring and subtracting. And we know we have to square root this. And we know that if we type it in our calculator, we get 7.96. And that's my height. So I'm putting it in here for h. And now I have to go back and multiply it and divide by 3. And I get an answer of 130. Oops, 130, not 103. 130.01 feet cubed. Okay, that's the tricky shape. We need to use Pythagoras here because we weren't given the height. I won't do that very often, but we should be aware of it. Okay, next shape. It looks like a tent. So we've just got a triangle in the front and one in the back. So two of the same things means it's a triangular based prism. Our formula is base times height divided by 2. So my base and my height, they meet at the right angle, and I can see the right angle. I'm going to erase some stuff here. Here's my right angle, right there. Divided by 2, we get 66. My volume, base times height. Now here's the tricky one. Most people think this comes to a point. I don't consider this a point because not all edges come to the same point. There's a point all right, but this would have to come there, and that one would have to come there, and that would make a pyramid. So this does not come to a point. Just a regular old base with a whole bunch of triangles stacked up on top. 13 centimeters worth. Multiply it together, we get 858 centimeters cubed. Okay, last one. It looks like a cone, which has a circle on the bottom. So pi r squared, pi times 4.7 squared. Into our calculator we go, 69.4. And my volume, base times height, it comes to a point, so divide by 3. Our base is 69.4. How tall is this one? Well, straight down the middle is 3.4 divided by 3. We end up with 78.65 meters cubed. Okay, so those were the 4 shapes that we've looked at. Triangular-based prism, square-based prism, circular-based prism, and then of course the pyramid and the cone. How can we actually solve some problems? Well, let's take a look at this one. The prism shown below has a volume of 1,224 feet cubed. How tall is it? So I'm going to start this out like any other volume question. Look at my base. My base at the bottom is 6 by 7. It's a rectangle. 6 by 17. Multiply together, I get 102. My volume, base times height, doesn't come to a point, so I don't have to divide by 3. I know the base is 102. I don't know the height, but I do know the volume. This is where algebra skills come into play. I want to get h by itself. I don't want 102 h's, so I divide it out. If I divide one side, I got to divide the other side. And h comes out to 12 feet. So I'm going to treat this like any other problem. Area, and then volume. But the trick is now I'm going to know the volume. We have to solve for a missing piece. I get you guys to try one. The cylinder picture below has a volume of 807. Find the height. So let's treat it like any other question. Area of the base. Well, that's a circle. So pi r squared. My radius is 5.2. Tip in our calculator, we get 84.95. Hey, volume. Base times height. No divide by 3 because there's definitely no point in this one. Our base is 84.95. Our height is h. Don't know it. But I know the volume, 807. I want to get h by itself. So I've got to divide out the 84.95. Whatever I do to one side, do to the other. And I end up with approximately 9.5 centimeters when I divide. Okay, last one. The volume of a cone is 180 centimeters cubed. How tall is a cone if it's known as radius is 6 centimeters? Well, let's draw ourselves a picture. Here's a cone. It's got a radius of 6 centimeters. I don't know how tall it is. I know how to find volume. Take the area of my base, pi r squared. In this case, pi times 6 squared. Gives me 113.1. My volume is base times height. Ooh, I got a point in this one, so I'm going to have to divide by 3. What do I know? I know my base is 113.3. I know there's an h. I know I have to divide by 3. I know the volume altogether is 180. So what do I have to do first? Because this one looks a little bit different. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my dividing. What is 113.3 divided by 3? That's 37.7. And there happens to be an h there. I don't really want that h. I want to know what h is. So I've got to divide out the 37.7 to get h by itself. Whatever I do to one side, do to the other. And you should get approximately 4.77 centimeters. Okay, so here's some problems we can solve using volume. Either working forward or working backwards as we did in the end here. We're going to work with just the shapes we know so far, prisms and pyramids. The trick is those dividing by 3 ones. And I suppose that Pythagoras question we looked at too. And give the sheet a try. If you're stuck, come see me and we'll figure it out.